That's what they base it on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's call the meeting to order and rise to say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I almost didn't hear you, Maya.
Yeah.
That was it.
Mumble is mumbling.
All right, let's do roll call.
Rod, here. Nicole.
Here.
Dave. Here. Carolyn.
Here.
Deb.
Here. Does anybody have any comments? Maya,
Why can't we have the picnic?
he's been complaining about the picnic for 2 years.
We haven't had it on the budget.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
It's not in the budget, she said. We might have to look at that again though, huh? Yeah. He missed that. Anybody else? Public comment? All right.
Deb, do we want to move number 8 out?
Ambulance contract? All right, yeah, make a motion.
I'll move that we move the ambulance contract with City of Marshfield under new business to the
Second.
present time.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yes.
All right, I have asked Everett Mueller, Chief of Marshfield, Steve Akos, Deputy Chief EMS in Jordan. He's the finance person who helps put this contract together. I asked him to come out tonight to help clarify some questions in the contract. The first one I want clarified is there to each township an amount of $2,595 was added to the contract. And if I read this right, it was depreciated out 15 years and then spread across 13 counties. So we're gonna have $2,500 for the next 15 years added to, on top of our 3.5% increase every year. And that is for,
So that's for outfitting a full ambulance, because to take, and it's not counties, it's townships. So do you?
oh, I'm sorry, townships.
So,
Maybe.
should I go up there?
Yes, please.
Alright. So that's the first question, right?
Yep.
So, all right, so the cost came from, so let's talk about the basis of what that $2,500 really represents. So it represents a full ambulance with all the equipment that goes into it, which is a cardiac monitor, a Lucas device, power cot, what am I missing? Extrication tools, everything else. So, and I have some data that I've done that I can present to the board too, as well, as far as like just what CPI does versus what the actual costs of some of this stuff is. And this is just an ambulance. And if you want to take it and pass it out, you can read that inflation, or the factor that we use, or most people use from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and you can follow the website. I have it up there on the source document. If you were to try and go back to the last time that we bought an ambulance like what we're buying in 2024 at $208,000, and you walk that forward to September 2024, your buying power of that $208,000 is $256,000. But the actual cost of that ambulance is $274,000. So there's a difference between what actual inflationary estimates that we're using and the real cost of this machinery. And that's just the ambulance. We're not talking about heart monitor. We're not talking about the power load cot. We're not talking about the extrication tools or the Lucas device. So all of those pieces of equipment have gone higher off in costs than the inflationary factors we're using. So why are we adding this? Because we have 13 townships. Yours is one of them. And to basically service all of those townships, we need one full crew. And that's not one full crew just for when you guys call. It's one full crew in case you call. And so to do that, we need people plus these rigs. And so what we're saying is oftentimes too, we don't also look at our total costs that are going on right now. We have depreciated equipment that doesn't have expenses in our income statement because we've been using them beyond their useful life. So We need to get those updated so that we have good equipment to get to you. So that's to explain what that $2,500 is, and it's 15 years spread across the 13 different townships.
So I was just asked a question. The ambulance that this money is gonna help replace, is that also used in the city, or is that set solely aside for going out to the rural townships that you
I don't
service?
think we can set it just aside. It's not from that perspective. It's to keep the fleet up and running for everybody, because right now we're running to the point where we have at least two that are almost
Yeah.
useful.
So to speak to that one, Lori, just specifically, we staff 5 ambulances in-house. That's always have an ambulance available for any township that requests it. So no, it's not for one specific ambulance, it's to have an ambulance available 24/7.
Because it's kind of a logistic nightmare, like we can't use this one, it's gotta be that one. Think about it, it just wouldn't make sense.
There's also times, I mean, there's also times where there's more than one ambulance needed.
Absolutely.
I mean, there can be accidents where there's 4 ambulances on just one call. So that's why the numbers of the ambulances need to be there.
No, I get it. There's just a question I was asked to me.
So the $72,970 is the total with everything, am I correct? That's in your contract?
The contract that you put out this year.
Correct, yes.
That's everything.
Except for, there's a clause that we did change. The only clause that we did change in this is that there was a cap to what we call bad debt. And so Lori had a question, I'm not sure, did you send that to
No, I
all
did
your board
not,
members?
because
Okay,
I
right.
didn't know how deep
Is
you
that-
wanted to go.
You should send that.
Okay. I
Is that
sent
the
it to them.
3,000?
Yes,
Yes.
correct. All right, so this is a different item. So there's a billable clause if you have payers in your township that don't pay their medical bills. What that's called is called bad debt, and it happens more often than you would think.
You know, you've got a lot of it in your town.
We do have a lot of it in our town and every other town that exists in America right now. That's just how it is. So unfortunately, the problem is as we take on your township's payers, we can't take on the bad debt payers. Those are yours to deal with. And we take those by call that basically when the crews come out, they basically state which township they're servicing. And that's how we get who we have to bill essentially for that. And
Regardless
we-
if they're from the township or not, if the accident happens in the township or whatever the case may be,
Correct.
it comes back to the township.
Correct, because we even have payers that are from like Michigan and trying to collect from Illinois out-of-state Medicaid. Not gonna happen.
Mhm.
So.
So what
there's-
about,
Oh,
I
sorry.
will forward you guys the email that Jordan sent me on this question. It was very lengthy and very eye-opening to me, because I didn't know how many layers there is to the whole billing thing. So I will forward that to all of you guys.
So if we have 15 people that don't pay their bills, we owe
Correct.
The full amount of those.
Correct, just like we have 20% of our base. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
but now, in the past, when this has happened, so up to 3,000, you know, okay, so, fine, they don't pay it, and they don't pay anything, and who is it that goes after the insurance?
So there's, all right. This is where that email would come in very handy. And I can go into a lengthy explanation, but I don't know how long you want to
Okay,
stay.
well, no, it's just that this is the one thing
How about the
that I'm
short version?
familiar with.
All right.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, so who does bill for the insurance?
so we have a third-party contractor come in from EMS MC. That's the company. It used to be LifeQuest, got bought out by EMS MC. They have a variety of different ways of going after collections. First, it's insurance. If they can't collect from insurance, then they go to the person. And then it basically goes for 3 stages. So first is insurance, and then patient statements. Then it's collection calls with a kind of a 6-month limit, or after 120 days. And so they're following up on collections. And then after a certain period of time, I can't remember if it's 6 months after that 120-day window, they go into long-term cycle of collections. They're still being collected upon. Now, the bills that we send you, they don't hit you until 6 years later. Like, so the stuff that we may have sent you may have been from 2018. Because we tried to collect for 6 years, and in the great state of Wisconsin, the statute of limitations on bills for medical debt is 6 years. But frankly, there are other states that have different statute of limitations, and it depends on what those are. So there's a lot of different
So
questions.
you set it at 6 years. So if it's a resident of our township, we could actually put it on their taxes after that when it comes back to the township?
I'm not gonna state any way of how you can collect from your township. I'm
Okay.
not here to state that. So I'm disclaiming that.
That'd be one we want to check into, especially with that time frame.
What goes into the basic contract? Why are some townships more, some less? Population, distance, valuation, what is?
From what I
Just the
understood,
bullet points, if you
yeah,
highlight
so
those for
Steve,
everybody's edification.
Yeah, so I can't speak to how they did the formulation 8 years ago. Everybody that was involved is gone. When I took over as EMS deputy chief in mid-2017, excuse me, going into 2018, working with the finance department, which was Jordan's predecessor, we wanted to simplify because it was a very complicated formula. Like I said, nobody understood it. So we took the existing amount that the townships were being billed, and from that point forward, we started comparing it to CPI. So looking at adjusting so that we were trying to stay current with our costs without having to incur extra costs for you guys. We want to be fair. My whole point of being an EMS director is at the end of the year, if I'm $1 in the black, I'm perfectly happy with that. We're not here to make money, just provide a service. So we've been using that for the last 7 years, really just trying to keep it. Even some years, as you guys know, CPI has skyrocketed. We have not kept up with that because that would be a huge hit to our townships. So we're trying to kind of play the middle of the road with that. And that's kind of where it comes down at this point with the adjustment for equipment. The information I handed out to you guys earlier, Lori handed out, was a survey that came out this year from 2019 through 2022 for EMS services around the country. And you guys can see the increase in cost. Since COVID hit, equipment, supplies, everything is skyrocketed. Just doing some research for the meeting tonight, I looked at what a heart monitor we purchased in 2021 and the cot that we purchased in 2021. Compared to the two items that we purchased this year, same thing, 2024. The heart monitor has gone up 19%. So from about 38,000 to just under 50,000 with a trade-in. The cot has gone up 37% in the last 3 years. So, and these are costs we can't control. Looking at our budget, we've got to somehow keep pace, and that's the reason for the catch-up in costs.
and
Oh, sorry.
I did want to state too that our general fund is supporting some of this from the standpoint that there is a transfer going into the EMS fund this year and then next year in our 2025 budget. It's set to.
How many calls did you come to in the township of McMillan last year and so far this year?
I can tell you, I've got it right here. But average, I look back, running the numbers. I can go all the way back to 2018. So if you're asking 2023.
Well, you can go back to 2020, that's fine, or whenever.
Sure, 2018 there was 40 calls, 2019 53, 2020 was 47, 22 had 58 calls, 23 had 65, I'm sorry I missed 21 in there, 21 is 64 calls, and so far this year we're at 67, up through October.
Yeah, how many meat wagons you guys got?
We have 5 ambulances in the station.
Oh, really? And you're planning on getting another one, basically is what this is about?
We're gonna stay at 5.
Pardon me?
We're staying at 5.
Oh, okay.
So the
Now I'm just
ambulance,
curious.
nope, not a problem. The ambulance that's due to be delivered in December will take the place of our oldest ambulance, which I believe was a 2009. That is definitely due for retirement. And then we actually, because of the way the system is set up right now, we've already ordered an ambulance for 2026 because the build time is almost 3 years. So for that ambulance, that will be replacing one that we have that we're currently running. That honestly is going to be our last out ambulance because it has some issues.
Are these ambulances built in the United States?
Yes,
That's good.
absolutely.
So I just ran some numbers based off the 67 calls so far this year, and our contract was 72,000. It'd be a little over $1,000 a call.
Yeah. Well, almost 73,000, so yeah. And I guess if they need an ambulance, in reality, that's not a bad price.
No.
But then you go ahead and charge the person that too, right?
The patient does get billed, absolutely.
You also then charge the insurance company, we pay $1,000, and then you charge their insurance company approximately $1,000.
So the patients get charged for the service we're providing. The townships, the bill that you guys see is just to have an ambulance available 24/7, 365. We've got to have the station, the equipment, and the personnel available 24/7.
If you think about it, you have to have probably about 7 to 8 people for 24/7 coverage on one rig, because it's 2 people that staff a rig for what, 12-hour shifts, plus you gotta factor in holidays, plus you gotta factor in training, plus you gotta factor in fire calls and everything else that's in between. Somebody gets sick, somebody's on workers' comp. So what you're really costing out is, what does it cost to have a 24/7 rig at all times?
Available. Yeah.
So,
So the citizens in the city are, it's the same as what it is out here?
quite frankly,
For
yeah.
being billed for?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
They are
Yeah,
billed.
yeah, they get charged for
Absolutely.
everything, and again, when, like I said, we have a much larger population of bad debt to pull from. That's why we can't take on their prices either,
Mhm.
so,
It's almost comparable to like a facility charge, like
you know,
having that.
correct, from a hospital
Yeah,
perspective, yeah. I see you, yeah.
Any other questions?
Steve, I just want to make sure you
Yeah.
clarify that McMillan EMTs are covered when we drive or help them back the ambulance, correct?
Yes, yeah, there was, I know Lori had a question on the language in the contract. That language hasn't changed, it's been in there for every year. I've had it clarified with the city attorney. We absolutely love having McMillan first responders and EMTs, as well as the rest of our townships available to help out on these calls. As you guys can imagine, some of the more serious ones, we would much rather have both of our crew members in back working with the patient and having them drive. You guys are absolutely covered.
Yeah, that was a miss on our part. We went from we thought all the contracts were exactly the same.
No, there's.
Turns out there's one small
There's one.
minor difference for this township.
Yes, there's one minor.
So on a call, on a typical call, how many paramedics come up?
2.
2.
On a typical call. Our crew does flex to a point. If they know we have first responders out here, we'll respond with our standard 2. But if for some reason we know that a few times a year we know that the department is busy, if we get a call for something that sounds life-threatening, we'll actually send a 3rd person out as well.
Did you have any bad debt from our townships in the last
Oh, goodness.
5 years?
I'll have to check on that one.
Okay.
We did send out the bills in July, so if you did get one, then yes.
You must
But
not.
yeah,
No?
if you did not get one, then
We did
no.
not.
Okay.
Otherwise, the next set, I'm planning on sending out usually in the summer. Because what
Okay.
ends up happening is the way that contract's written, it's like 6 months after the bad debt occurs. But the thing is we don't know if it occurs until 6 years. So I basically look at the prior year, 6 months into the year. So I'm looking at for next July in 2025, I'll be looking at everything that came through in 2024. So if it got written off
But
in
we would have
2024.
been covered in 2024, am I correct, under that $3,000 clause?
Yes,
Okay,
you should be,
Correct.
because that's.
because
the
2025
contract.
is where you're starting the new.
Sure.
You talking about with the
$3,000.
getting rid of the limit? Yeah, that's for 2025,
Okay,
correct.
yeah, so we wouldn't get any back billing from,
Nothing above 3,000.
Correct.
right, okay. Just checking.
No, that's a good way to,
Well-
it's interpretation of the contract, and that's actually a pretty good interpretation, so thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for these gentlemen? Yes, sir.
Obviously, every call is different, so you can't answer every call. Do you have an average idea of what that bad debt is per call? Something for us to kind of plan for?
I really can't, because it depends on your township, and, I mean, some people can have 3 ambulance calls, and they don't pay any of it, or they don't have insurance, and then it's $1,200 or something like that. So, not everybody's the same. That's the hardest part about this. That's healthcare in America, and this is why I really wish, like, there's a certain percentage of your population in this room that probably subscribes to Medicare, and they pay about $300 or $400 on a $1,200 bill. And then there's a certain percentage of the population that's commercial, and they pay 80 or 90% of the bill. And then there's a certain population that pays 0% of the bill. It's just hard to tell you. It depends on who gets the call. But I was gonna say, like, you're limited in the scope that you have 67 to 70-ish calls a year, and whether or not 20-ish% of that might not pay, you might have a better payer mix. If you didn't get a bill this year, maybe you're okay from that standpoint, but I can't guarantee it.
Yeah,
Just
I don't
depends on
think
who
we've
gets
ever
it.
gotten a bill, from my understanding.
And that's the other thing too, from our perspective, we didn't get, so we switched with LifeQuest 6 or 7 years ago. And so we finally got our full set of, here's the write-off. And so a lot of the times too, you may have heard that in the news about what was occurring with our bad debt allowance, and that was because we weren't factoring that in coming up to it. Now we're seeing it every month. It's $20,000, $30,000 that are being written off. Just something that you have to build in, and
Yeah.
you have to really be attuned with medical billing. It's a very difficult thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
No other questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to approval of town board minutes, October 14th.
I move to approve the town board minutes from October 14th, 2024.
Second. Any discussion?
Under the clerk's report, there was something regarding Stod Road, there was missing traffic marking, did that get taken care of?
Not to my knowledge.
It was just but it's the ATV sign that's missing?
Yeah.
No, they were calling about the paint.
Oh, that's the one they were calling about?
They wanted paint on stop.
Oh, that ain't happening today.
Stop.
I'm Scott. Well, wasn't there a Boy Scout or something that wanted to paint the road?
It was, I believe it all started because they were going for a merit badge and they had to identify a safety situation. And they said, oh, here's one, there's no paint on the roads. Let me contact the clerk, and then I can show my email that I can get my merit badge. That's my guess, I don't know.
Oh,
It was just.
so that's where that all came from.
Okay, I didn't,
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's still valid, we should have.
Sure.
Paint, but, if we're looking to replace the road, sometime.
Sometime.
And they are bad, it is bad, but.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Plan Commission, Dorothy.
At our last meeting, the only thing we had was the pesky rezone. The reason that got thrown back is because there were some numbers that weren't added in for adjoining parcels. Anyways, the recommendation from the Plan Commission is to go ahead, again, pay attention to where the road goes in for their driveway.
Anything else?
Pardon?
Anything else? Okay, any questions for Dorothy? All right, highway. Man Road is almost done. They were painting today. So they should be taking signs down pretty quick.
Do we need to post a speed limit there?
There is posted speed limits there. I think it's 45.
Oh, well, people don't obey them, so. I didn't know,
It's just a suggestion, it's
Yeah.
only gonna get faster.
I know.
I plan on calling Marathon County and asking them to sit down there,
Okay.
and maybe we can slow it down a little bit. Also, I made an appointment for one of our plow trucks this week and possibly the other one next week to get serviced and have them go through everything. The power steering on the one that you changed the filter on,
It's acting up again, yeah. Kevin.
there's more wrong with it than that. So we're gonna get the DOT certification right away while it's there, and then get them serviced and have them gone through. So it's gonna cost approximately $400 to $500. He said to change the oil, all the filters, check it over, $100 for the DOT, and at least there's something wrong with the power steering. There's a U-joint or something.
He said, if you change the filter, and that will take care of it, on that particular Freightliner and the motors,
Mhm.
actual pump on the motor.
Oh, he says it could be the pump.
Get a seal
So, and there's something leaking, so we gotta get it looked at.
So where are we going with?
Rex and Wrenches or whatever it is,
Where?
Oh, Rigs and Wrenches
Rigs
over
and
on
Wrenches.
McMillan Street.
where we've always taken it,
Oh.
across
used to be
from,
Farmway.
Used to be Farm.
Out on the edge across from
Farms.
Prince.
Prince, yeah, okay,
same place.
yep.
Let's see, other than that, we went and did the culvert inventory Saturday, Kurt and I did, Casey, and, did a whole lot of measuring and found a whole lot of big messes. We're gonna be changing out some culverts this next summer, some smaller ones that are rusting out and busted, and Kurt went and actually patched one today, so, cause there was a hole coming through the road on that one, so we'll be looking at those. Quincy, we definitely have to take a look at, cause that road is worse than yours, Dave. Down here, right down
Oh,
here.
it's terrible.
It's bad, so.
I know, there's a whole bunch of them that are bad.
Yep, but that one, I mean, was that chip seal over there? Just busted all valve?
Part of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, pieces and, yeah, chunks, and it's bad. We really gotta look at that for re-chip sealing that this next year. And other than that, I don't think I have too much at this point. So, library, Rod.
They're working on their budget, they're most of the way through it, the city process. And it's looking like they're gonna be losing one of their full-time people, and they'll be losing Sundays.
Oh, they're gonna close on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
You're gonna what?
They're gonna close on Sunday. They're losing a full-time person, so, yeah, that's too bad.
Well, they open at what anyhow on Sunday,
Yeah.
till 5.
I think it was 4 hours. I think it was 1 to 5.
Yeah. Buildings and grounds, Nicole.
So I've got, I had John print these out and hand out the details. I have McMillan Electric and Merit Electric. And I broke it out to what they gave me, like how much it would cost for each thing that I requested. So one was the retrofit of the exterior lights. One electric company had a rebate, the other one did not. What I don't know is how many fans we want to go with in the pavilion. I think 2 or 3 is our better option. 1 is not enough fans in there, and that just helps with the air circulation.
Bringing that either
Yeah.
cold or heat down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say go with 3. Your vents are all up in the ceiling.
So, and does anybody have any concerns with the information that I received from Merritt or McMillan? Because what I'll do then is I'll go with, it looks like Merritt, based off the numbers I've received.
Yeah, they're a couple $100 cheaper.
Where are they from?
Marshfield. They're right, by Quick Trip in the middle of town.
Now, does this, any of this cover the lights? Where is this? Is this just the pavilion?
Yes, only the pavilion is the only thing I've done. So
Okay.
the retrofit of the 10 exterior soffit lights on the outside of the building. And then there's a rebate from Merit on those. And then there would be installing the 3 fans.
I had a gentleman stop me out in the middle of the road, actually. I was crossing the street here, and he said, if you don't get those lights on the garage changed, I'm gonna see to it that it gets done myself. So the ones above the new garage. He said, I go by here every single day.
Did you get his name?
Yes, I have his name.
Is he gonna pay for it?
He said he would, if he has to.
Tell him knock himself out.
What, are they on during the day, is that what you're saying, or?
No, they're not, they don't work. They haven't worked. Rod, what did you say? They haven't
No, one of them's
worked?
got a transformer out. It's not a simple bulb change. One of them's got a transformer out. I don't know if there's any other ones that are out right now, or if it's just that they're
Well,
aging.
we need to get them addressed.
But yes.
Get on that, Nicole.
So anyways, that's where I'm at with that.
Sorry about that.
Other than that, so Casey's been busy. If you look at my notes, we want to focus on the flower bed outside of the town hall here, maybe make it into rock instead of what's out here because it got a little overbearing over the summer. So we want to work on that. We did have some stumps ground up, and that was donated by Dave Daniels with him. So thank you, Dave, if you're watching. We appreciate it. So we do have cleanup there because he left the sawdust for us. We need to clean up the ball diamond, and if there's time, put concrete by the pavilion if weather allows it. There was a bush, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, that
died, right on the corner of the building. The one that died. Well, that stuff needs to come out, we need to put concrete in there because water's leaking into the building,
in the corner.
up at the other building.
Yep.
And
And then we
we
need,
got some electrical there though too, right there in that spot.
That's on the other side too, yeah.
Okay.
and then we're going to be putting away the picnic tables and volleyball net, and then in spring we'll be doing a lot of mulch. So outside of that, we also have in the back of the ball diamond that's really
Need some dirt.
needs some dirt in the field, so we'll be busy, but that's where we're at with that.
What shouldn't you put, why don't you put that dirt back there now?
That's what I'm thinking, so as it dry up.
Then it packs
Run a
out.
wheelbarrow out
Okay,
there.
now, before spring, I guess.
Yeah, but it.
There's a few holes, and there's a few ruts, and you can feel it when you drive out with a lawnmower, so.
But get them filled in so they settle,
Mhm.
and then you can seed that down in the spring.
Yep.
So, just a thought.
So that's where we've been busy. I did get quotes for epoxy, and that's $15,000 on average on the floor in there. I don't know if we want to spend that kind of money on the
For
floor.
$100 rental.
Yeah. It would take us
Yeah, but
a
it's
long-
that's the original floor.
Mhm.
When was it built? 80 what?
No, not 80.
What?
It was real-
2001. 20 years old, 21 years.
21 years old. It's
Right.
lasted that long. So,
And
And
the
it-
floor itself is still in good shape, it's just that it's,
yes,
Wait.
and I had a guy come in and he gave me a quote of 6,000
to do what?
to do the floor, redo the floor
Do
with
what
the
to it?
epoxy. Yes, because one of my neighbors had him do it and I had him come over and look at this one.
Where's the quote?
I didn't get it, he just showed me and I didn't even bring it up.
Because everybody I've talked to, you have to take off the existing covering,
Sure, you have to get rid of
First.
what's there.
yeah, and then you have to put it on top of
Yeah.
that. However, I did find out epoxy doesn't like sun very much, so there will be fading from the online research that I read. One company said they stand behind their flooring for a number of years. I can't remember if it was 5 or 10 years, but they were $15,000.
I can get the name of this other guy that,
Well, if you can just send him, if you can just get the quote
I know.
from him, that would be fine.
I can't even remember who it was that, but
Okay. Otherwise, other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, garbage.
Oh, George had a question.
What?
If you dump, thousands of dollars into this floor up there, how the hell are you ever gonna regain anything? That, we rent it out for $100 a pop. None of us are gonna live that long, realize anything. That makes absolutely, that's like pissing away money is what it amounts to. I don't care if it's 6,000, or why don't you ask the guy that's gonna fix the lights if he wants to donate that? Then another question is, if you're gonna put in these fans, are you gonna have, they'll be remotes, huh? How are you gonna police them?
Well, there'll be switches in the back, in the maintenance room, that you'll switch them on and off.
Oh, okay.
So I guess not remotes, but switches.
Oh, okay. Because damn well the retards that rent, they end up eating them, so.
They'll be gone.
Yeah.
Get packed up or whatever. So, garbage and recycling, Dave.
Any questions from anybody else, any problems? After the last recycling, I happened to come this way, And by golly, there was waste management guys sitting in a pickup truck in the church parking lot, so I stopped to talk to him because I recognized some of the recyclables that I had put in that a day or two before that, they were in the ditch on Elm Tree, east of Stod. And I asked him, what's going on? Yeah, that's been a problem. I said, I've talked to your supervisor a couple times. A couple times he didn't return my calls. Finally, Chad did. And now he said they're going to put some kind of a hood attachment on the truck that's supposed to keep everything in, because they must be getting some complaints. So now I gotta go dig my recyclables out of the ditch that I put in the cart.
Just look at it as an exercise.
Yeah, I need exercise, we all do.
One thing we do have to look at with garbage and recycling is, by any chance, does the town want to look at somebody else? Because we have to make that decision by December of this year in order for them to take us off of that board in 2 years.
What are the other games in town?
Well,
Call harder.
well, you gotta have somebody that's big enough to take care of the whole township. And the board that we are already work with, okay, is looking at getting different prices, because when we first got involved with them, they were the only game in town, was Advanced. So they are doing that. Dorothy?
I know the town of Spencer is changing theirs. And they're not in with the,
That's true.
Right.
I'm just saying,
But
right
anyway.
now, that's the only game in town, and we're gonna be looking at it.
Right, you got till next month to make up your mind.
Well, we don't have till next month though to get the numbers in, so it's on the tax bill. So when is the next meeting for?
It's to be determined, I just looked at it.
We need to get the
Yeah, but
numbers
it's
in.
in 2 years,
Well,
the change.
we
Yeah,
have,
in 2 years, so you don't need that yet.
we have to have the numbers for the total so we can put it on the tax bills by the week of
Yes.
Thanksgiving, which is what, 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, but we're not changing next year.
I know that, but we still don't have the correct number because they told us there was gonna be an increase because of fuel or whatever. So we don't have a new number yet.
Oh, so
Oh, I
we
see
don't
what
have
you're
a new
saying.
number for this coming year.
For
Oh,
25, yes.
okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay, that's the question we
Yeah,
have to ask.
so can
next
you
time.
find out for us? Because we need to get some numbers.
Was that on that sheet I gave you, Dave, from the last meeting?
I don't have it with me in that. I thought it was
I thought it was on there.
41 something, right?
Yeah, that was for recycling.
Oh, well then,
Yeah, there's-
You're talking about garbage, right?
Both, they go together.
Okay. So you can check into that one. But this other deal is for 2 years down the road,
Yes.
so.
that's all I have.
Yeah,
I have nothing for the next two.
okay,
I don't have anything for ordinances either.
okay. Lori?
Since our last meeting, we had 3 EMS calls and 1 motor vehicle accident. Our 2025 AFG grant, the one we just closed out, we were denied. The new one opens up tomorrow. We would like to apply for that, but I gotta give it my officers and pick something to go for. I need approval to purchase a battery bank with 6 batteries for the SCBA's. That would come out at 2% dues. That's $3,852.31. I also need approval to purchase 2 nozzles that will come out at 2% dues for $1,188.95. Nothing to report on EMS. And for community education, November is National Diabetes Month. Please check out our Facebook page. And I want to thank everybody who came and supported the fire department for their brat chili feed on Voters Day.
Does anybody have any questions for Lori?
What page is your 2% dues on in the budget versus the actuals? Do you happen to know?
I don't remember. You gotta look at the total on everything. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's included in there, so.
Because right now, the one that John sent, there's like a little over 21,000 left in the fire department budget for the rest of the year. And
Oh, here, I found it. It's on page 3.
I just had the ladders all tested. That bill should be coming up next week. DOTs, they need to get done yet.
Insurance has to come out of there.
Insurance has to come out, and then my last payroll needs to come out.
Plus we'll be transferring expenses tonight that the town paid for all of us.
And that comes out of our Fall Fest fund.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need approval to purchase these, because
So we need a motion for that. So you're looking at 3, 4, 5, a little over $5,000 for the two of them.
What was the second one, 1,000 what?
$1,181.95.
And how much is that ladder?
The what?
The ladder checking that you just talked about, how much is?
I didn't get that bill yet.
You have no idea how much it's gonna cost?
It usually runs about 11 or 1,200.
Okay.
Because he checks all the ladders and the aerial.
I move to approve the purchasing batteries and charger bank for the SCBA and the purchasing of 2 nozzles.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Dorothy?
Did you get the thing fixed so that they could fill the tanks on the pond now?
The dry hydrant, that is in the budget for 2025 to be fixed.
So where are you filling them then?
We have an in-house pump that's connected to the pond that we're pumping out of.
All right. Clerk's report. John, you're up.
Okay.
Hold on, before we go any further. Are we going with Merit Electric on yours?
I think so.
Did you want a motion for that?
Do I need one?
Well, it's maintenance, so not really, that's probably wouldn't hurt.
I don't have, like, it's this first page is
Uh-huh.
the numbers that I crunched, so I don't have, like, I just wanna confirm with them that my numbers are matching what they're gonna bill us. So I
Okay.
have not done that,
Okay,
but I don't have a contract signed or anything with them,
okay.
but
Otherwise, you're
are you
gonna
guys
go with
okay with
Merit.
these numbers? Yeah, okay.
All right,
If they're different, I'll let you guys know and we'll go from there.
okay. All right, John.
So we had 1,343 voters on election day and 92 new election day registrations, so we were very busy. Thanks as always to the poll workers. We probably got out here at, I think, 10:30, so it was a good, successful day overall. The Wisconsin Department of Revenue sent our second notice of non-compliance of assessed value. That will be rectified next year when our assessor does the full revaluation of the properties in the town. We received a notice from the IRS that we did not file our IRS Form 941 for the period ended March 31st, 2022.
Oh my, again?
So I will file this prior to the November 13th deadline.
No paper copy either?
Not that I've been able to locate, but that was, that would have all occurred during the transition from Patty into,
Tanya?
because that's due in April of '22, so. We received the tax levy notifications from the school district and from the technical colleges. We received, zoning permits that were issued on Birch Tree and West McMillan, and a sanitary permit was issued on Birch Tree. That's the end of my report.
That's it? That's all you got?
Yep.
Checks to approve.
There's one check in there that is for the wrong amount. Check number 20374, it should be for $259.65, not $246.11. We are paying the tax on this because he does not have our tax exempt form.
We have to send.
Oh, you send it along with the
We
bill?
send it right with it and then they take it out. So they'll take it out. We already have that.
Am I blind? Where is this in this pack?
It looks like this.
Third, fourth page.
Oh, you're, okay, I was.
What number was that, Lori?
What was it?
What was that number?
20374, range out of that.
Okay. So that's gonna be changed?
It's already been, the certificate's already produced, so it'll go with the check, so that they know it.
Okay,
And then there's no sales tax.
okay. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
So make a motion?
I need a motion.
Okay, motion to approve the checks 20351 through 20390, plus the other transfers 241001 through 241012.
I'll second that.
I have a question, John. Our bank payment, for the first payment.
That's already been handled, it was due November 1st, and it's an automatic
Withdrawal.
yes, it's already done, but it won't show up on this report, it shows up on the November report.
Oh, okay.
We're just mid-November now, so we're doing the October's report.
Okay, so it'll be on December's is what you're saying.
Next month,
Okay.
yes,
Just wanted to double check.
yeah, it's done, and it'll be automatic every month,
Right.
so we don't need to. And
You
then,
don't have to transfer it.
No.
and then it'll automatically be on your next, in December's meeting, it'll be on the check bank.
Okay.
That way, there's no missed, we don't have to ask for a check, it's done.
That was my idea. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, budget to actual. Any discussion for that at this point? We'll be going over that later anyway. Bank reconciliation,
You have in front of you,
not quite, but yeah, here.
and, we'll need 75,000 in order to pay the balance of these bills, which should make us to the next time we need monies to pay out, except for the standard stuff.
So you want 75,000?
75, please.
From the tax savings to checking?
Yes.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Question. I guess we don't have to worry about it till December because we don't have the bill for May
Right.
yet, so, okay. Any discussion? What's that?
That's okay.
Well, I just wanna make sure
Yeah.
that we don't miss something here. Cause it's happened in the past, you know, so
Well, if they miss it for $500,000, that's,
they're gonna miss us, all right?
yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The other thing that we have set up to transfer is the amount of expenses for the Fall Fest, that's
Okay, we'll do-
$16,522.53.
Okay, and we'll do that when we amend the budget.
We need a motion to transfer that.
Yeah, we will. 'Cause we'll do that when we amend the budget, we'll make the motion to transfer it.
What was the number again? 16?
$16,522.53.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on new business. You didn't need anything else?
Nope.
Okay. 25 Marshfield ambulance contract. We're between a rock and a hard place, so I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Don't let me forget to sign this, John. Okay. Pesky rezone.
I move to approve the pesky rezone.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
You brought up about the driveway.
To keep the driveway north,
Oh, keep the driveway north, okay.
so you might want to add that in for stipulation.
And that was only for that, what, 20 feet?
They're going from rural estate to rural residential for the 2-acre lot for their son to build a house.
Yeah. But there was something to do with 20 feet too, right? The boundary line?
They,
And it
That was
shows
all part of the business, why we're going back over it the second
Right.
time.
because they missed 20 feet from the
The numbers were wrong.
Pica, is his name in between them.
Yeah, yeah.
So any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Who
Okay,
seconded?
April.
I have Carolyn as the second.
Or
Okay,
Carolyn
thank you.
seconded, I'm sorry. And then we want to amend the 24 budget, which we need to make a transfer of $16,522.53 from Fall Fest funds into the fire department budget.
I move to approve.
We need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Do you want that to also be to
For the
transfer
transfer,
from
right.
Fall
Yes.
Fest funds in the bank to the main checking?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
yeah.
And then I will put revenue in the budget for Fall Fest of 16,000,
Right.
and then increase the general fire, the public safety budget by 16,000 as well? 16,000 and change, that's what's intended?
Well, shouldn't that wash it out, because right now we're 16, on page 4, we're $5,022.53 over budget.
Right, so then you'll add that into the budget.
But I have a,
Oh, yeah, so you wanna put 16,522 in the budget for
Right.
Fall Fest?
Yeah,
Yep,
So, but that will fall down, so that currently the total 52,000 for public safety, that line item
we'll go up.
is gonna go from 298
Yeah.
to 314,000, okay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay.
But it'll also bring her balance up.
Yep.
So, do we need to do anything for highway, John? I don't think so. At this point, we'll do that next month.
wait a minute.
No, that happened last month. I got the $1 million loan proceeds
In there.
on the budget, or on the revenue side, so on page 2, up at the top, it says loan proceeds, 49120.
Okay,
I've got $1 million in the budget there. And then on page 5, about the same way down, you know, a quarter of the way down, 53315 Highway ST Construction Local. That's now $1,149,076. So I put the entire million in there.
right,
Oh, yeah.
into the budget.
Yeah.
So if we need to transfer more though, is that, what'd you say we have left in the highway budget?
547,000 looks like,
296.65,
yeah.
because we'll probably have to transfer more
Yeah,
next month.
so then we'll probably have to go with, I think that the best way would be to, like, put the revenue as a fund balance applied,
Mhm.
which would then pull in prior year money and recognize it again in this year.
Right,
And then increase the expense by
whatever
whatever
we need at the
amount
time.
is necessary, yeah.
Okay,
John, can I go back to the, in the business of the Fall Fest stuff?
Mhm.
Okay, January to December 24, that first line, you've got Fall Fest expense $65,000.
What page you on?
page 4.
65,000 on the top of that list that you gave me, those first 4 items, which is 48,708, do not belong in Fall Fest.
They came out of the Fall Fest account, that's what he's trying to tell you. It was
That's-
the Cascade system and it was some other equipment. It came out of the Fall Fest account.
It was a compressor.
Yeah,
That we purchased, what, last December, but we didn't get the bills till January?
yeah, and we transferred it out of Fall Fest funds.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure.
You're doing a good job. All right. So we're done with that portion of it at this point. All right, innovation grant, I'm gonna let you run with that one, John, if you would.
Sure, so, this, I think is something new from that Act 12, which kind of, that was kind of an overarching act for the state of Wisconsin. That's the thing that gave the new shared revenue money. I think it increased the transportation aid. I believe that that's what caused the need for the maintenance of effort report every year that's gonna happen. So this is just another thing. I don't believe that the grants are even actually out yet, but I think it's prudent to start looking at it to see if it's something that we want to apply for. So it says how to apply on page, I don't have these pages numbers, so right after the budget, right after the name of this contract, down in the middle it says how to apply starting mid-November 2024. So that stuff hasn't come out yet, but they have two different grants. They have a planning grant that we would qualify to apply for because we have a population of less than 5,000 people. It looks like, from what this looks like, you might get up to $100,000. I'm not sure if they just award you an amount. It kind of looks like it might be a question mark until you get the invoice. I can't imagine that that's what it's going to be. I imagine you'll have to say, we want to contract with this person, we expect it's going to cost no more than $50,000.
Or somebody might want to contract with us and go from there to where we would have to have more services. But what they do is they come out and tell us, with that planning one, am I correct, John? Is they will evaluate where we're at.
Yeah, so my understanding of this, and again, this is just based on the information that's out, so like they don't have the RFPs out or anything like that. And then I included the question and answer, the frequently asked questions on the last couple of pages, but there's a handful of services that can be, let's see, transferred maybe, or somehow, it looks like you have to get at least 10% cost savings. So there's grants available to get somebody to determine if that's something that's feasible to us. So, I feel like there's not a whole lot of downside to getting a planning grant to see if there's any options for the town to save 10% or more annually. The innovation grant itself, if I am understanding it correctly, will give you money to put that plan into action.
So we could essentially use that for our fire protection and parks and recreation, looking at the options.
That means you're transferring the service from another responsible party to do your fire protection.
Not necessarily, not necessarily.
That's not what I read on here.
It could also be, say we would get an ambulance, okay? We could contract out to someone else. We're gonna need more here, okay? So it could, whatever they would come up with and say, this is what we're gonna recommend for the township. We don't have to take it, but it's definitely something we could look at.
Yeah, because if it's a cost savings, why wouldn't we wanna?
Well, it depends what they come up with.
Or a consultant could come out here and say, look, if you do this thing with your fire, if you farm out your fire, you can save 50% of your current fire department budget, and you get the same service. Like, let's say that that's what the consultant says, then I think it would be prudent to at least explore that further, to see if it's, because otherwise, you would be saying, no thank you, we want to spend $300,000 on something that we can
Right.
conceivably
Oh, I
get for
see, yeah.
$150,000, and I think that the taxpayers would have a difficult time with that.
So essentially, we're not paying anything for somebody to come, if we get this grant,
Yeah, my
we're not
understanding-
paying anything for somebody to come look at how we're budgeted now and say,
Right.
you can do cost savings here, here, and here, based
Yeah,
off these
that's my understanding,
overview
that
options.
there's zero cost to us,
Yeah.
there's only potential upside.
Right.
John, the second, bottom of the second page, it says the innovation grant details the requirements, says you have to enter into an agreement or contract to transfer services and duties with a signature date on or after the DOR, so are you sure you don't actually have to
My understanding is you actually have to fix the
So
service.
that's for the innovation grant itself, but not the planning grant. So the planning grant is only on the first page,
Right.
right in the middle.
It's on
That's
what
what, that's
page?
the first page. We're just looking
It's
at
on-
the
it looks
planning
like-
grant at this point.
It looks like this, and the planning part is just this, these 3-4 paragraphs.
Right. You've got innovation planning grant, and then below it is the innovation grant. We're just looking at the innovation planning grant at this point. To see if they come up with anything.
And they may come back and say, what, you guys are doing great, there's
Yeah.
no changes that we recommend. But
Very
if it's
possible.
not going to cost us anything, why wouldn't we take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Hey, well, they're coming out here for nothing from the grant.
Right.
What I've already paid in.
Right, so somebody's gonna get something out of this.
So we need a motion.
I move to approve, applying for the innovation planning grant only.
Can I get a second?
Would it be too much to add not to exceed $100,000? Then that gives a lot of latitude. That's the maximum in the grant.
Oh,
I
not
wouldn't
to
want to
exceed.
do that. I'd rather try and keep it nice and tight.
Yeah,
You know, but
that's fine with me.
I have no idea who, like, I'm hoping that I get solicited on this, because I don't know who we would even contact to do this kind of, I don't know who would do this kind of thing.
Well, I think, like I said, they brought it up at Wisconsin Town
Yeah, I would reach out to
Association,
them.
so I am guessing they would have somebody available, so.
So not to exceed 100,000.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Any more discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, so now we get to go into closed session. And we can just head into the back, so you guys don't have to go through all the place.
Thank God, it feels like it, doesn't it? I know. Well,
You're bored.
I'm gonna die of boredom.
Bye.
You leaving, Maya?
Yeah, I'm leaving.
All right, make sure you're in bed when I get home.
No, we don't have to go outside.
Putting in your yard.
I have enough signs in my yard.
I have none and I don't want any.
These are all signed.
They're worse in the summer when you gotta mow around them. In the winter, it's not so bad.
Yeah, when you mow, you have to take them all off and then you have to stick them back.
Okay, we will reconvene into open session.
Okay, so. I move to approve hiring Larry Krelfy as a part-time employee for $25 an hour.
You need a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I move to approve Cody Shanks as a full-time employee at $26 an hour, on 3-month probation.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I gotta get my puzzle done.
What puzzle?
I did a puzzle at home I've been working on.
Oh, shit.
It's puzzle season.
I got more stuff here.
When when daylight savings
Hey,
comes,
hey.
it turns.
Oh, okay.
I don't have time to do them anymore.
got one in my bag. Oh, thank you.
I think
Well, I got one of those puzzle tables.
Oh, you did? Oh, so you can leave it?
Yeah, I can leave it out, and then I
Hey,
can lift
Kurt.
it and move it wherever, right?
You have